Greater Bendigo is a very special place for young people to live because it provides us with many opportunities. We have the TAFE and La Trobe University, and our educational institutions can work closely hand in hand with those organisations. But we're also an extremely culturally diverse community, and I think that prepares us very well for future life and our endeavours. I think something that would make Bendigo better for young people would be more activities for us to do when we're hanging out with our friends. We've got a lot of family-friendly facilities and places to hang out, but not so much for young people or teenagers. I don't know. I think we need to have a team that works on it and brainstorms what that could look like, because we have places like the cinema at the moment, but once you've gone there with your friends it can be quite expensive, especially if you continue doing that a lot.
So something that's sort of...
I think currently mental health, specifically as a result of COVID as well. Not only that, but coming out of that, I think we're going to need to work a lot with young people to ensure resilience and healthy mental health going into the future.
What impact?
I think isolation, especially because of COVID. Also stress in school, especially in Year 12. We all feel the need and desire to push ourselves further and further as our society grows, and we just want to be ahead and running with that, but sometimes that takes a lot of energy and a large toll on young people. I think from within ourselves, not necessarily parents or society, but just a deep desire to always be working with the community and running along as fast as we can. And it's healthy because, well, in most circumstances, because we grow and we change and adapt to situations and become more resilient. But at the same time, it can also provide burnout and, definitely a large source of stress. I think particularly if we were talking about COVID-19, I think we need to have more accessible counselling and therapy for youth who have been traumatised by it. But I also think we need to talk about coping mechanisms and strategies to deal with stress as well, more widely, and remove the taboo from that sort of thing as well.
Do you think this?
I think definitely prioritising an approach to improving the mental health of students, as I was speaking about before, creating more spaces for youth and teenagers to hang out and commune with people and gather together. Number 3, I think also providing a space for young emerging creative artists to thrive and to learn. We already have an amazing performing and creative arts scene for young people, but we can always improve, and I think that would be really cool as well.
Oh, brilliant. So what makes Greater Bendigo a great place for young people to live now?
Well, it's such a community, like a lot of people know each other and it's like just really welcoming, and you've got like such nice people. Like I've got such great friends, and I've met so many new friends here today, and I've met so many friends along the way in different activities outside of school as well. So it's just really friendly and, supportive and really nice. I think targeting age groups like specifically my age group, because I feel as if there are a lot of family places you can go to with, as families, and, as there's a few clubs out that people over the age of 18 can go to, but there's not much through the ages of 13 and 17. So maybe just a few more activities and some places like that for our age group. I think a challenge could be, just getting out and doing stuff. A lot of people don't go out as much as often, and if they do, they don't do that much. They'll go out for lunch and they'll go home and watch a movie, whereas I think, you should stay in town and, have a bit of fun with friends and family and stuff.
So does that...
Well, I think we need to create activities, which is why it's such a good idea to have a youth panel to get different ideas, to see what people want of different age groups. Like I was talking to a girl who's 12 and she wants an aquarium, and then a boy who's 17, he wants like a skate park to hang out with his friends. So there's completely different options. So, just get a range of ideas and, try your best.
How to do them?
Well, as I mentioned before, targeting different age groups. Safety, I think that's very, very important, and also like welcoming people that aren't Australians into the community and teaching them our language and our culture and everything about us. Well, I guess we've just, over the years, you've heard stories and, you know, people can sometimes give off these certain, I guess it's just the perspective you see things, you know, just...
Are there places that you feel unsafe?
Well, some places like at night, you know, if you can't really stay past late because some people tend to have a few drinks and go out. So, you know, you can't stay out late, but just stuff like that, you know.
I really like the inclusive environment that it fosters and the sense of diversity and how people come, you see them out on the streets from all walks of life. That's really cool. I see it from a mix, like so many people move into Bendigo and they're so diverse, and younger people are also really diverse in that sense as well. I think having more places for the youth group to hang out or more youth activities would be really beneficial towards the younger population, just because when friends come over or we have people come over from other towns, we don't really have much to do around Bendigo right now. I think just great hangout areas or new places for new youth groups or activities that we might find cool, or just like chill out zones. That'd be really cool after schools or something. I think after COVID and lockdown and everything, most of us had a lot of mental health issues, and since a lot of people weren't educated about that or they didn't have much mental health awareness, it was really hard for us to cope with these sort of things. And I just think increasing more mental health awareness around Bendigo would be really beneficial, so that we have some people to talk to and everything. I just think mental health accessibility needs to be improved a little more, because right now with psychology centres and everything, there's probably like a minimum of a 1 year wait because of the availability of good trained specialists and everything. So I think just increasing a little more accessibility would be really beneficial to young people. I'd probably say just being more inclusive towards the young community, because we feel kind of detached, like we don't know much about the older community and we don't know how to interact with everyone. So I think just, you know, bringing the community together would be really, really beneficial, and it would foster a sense of belonging and welcome, and like a welcoming environment. Probably kindness, inclusivity and equity.
Matilda, love
Where
it.
do you live, Matilda?
Bendigo.
What school do you go to?
Girton. Grammar, yes.
What colour uniform do you wear?
Like red and bluish. Yeah. It's a very vibrant community and there's lots of opportunities for everyone to sort of use, yeah.
What?
Well, if you, like, you can follow wherever you want, what path do you feel like taking. So there's like TAFE for people who don't want to go to uni but like want to stay in Bendigo and study stuff there. And there's like different groups that you can join, like art and drama and basketball and all of that. So yeah, probably more activities for the youth. So things that they can do for them outside of school. So like, I don't know, like if they want to meet people and do art or sport or something like that for them without having the older generation being there. Probably having a say, so like they're not listened to as much as what older like parents and stuff say. So yeah, asking them and just listening to what they have to say and what their ideas are. Even just like a survey online, asking them what, like, so they don't have to come out here, but like also in types of situations like this. Leisure activities for youth. Diversity, inclusiveness, and honesty.
My name is Charlotte.
So, what school do you go to, Charlotte?
I go to Caliana.
And where do you live?
I live in Eaglehawk. So much diversity, so many cultures in the area. It's very inclusive, and what better place to be than Bendigo with all that culture and all that stuff to learn about everything, like their food, their language, everything. Just how unique and different it is from the stuff that I'm used to. Because I remember we had this Aboriginal dance group come to my school, and their dance style was completely different from what I'd known, and I had really fun trying it out and trying different moves that were dedicated to Aboriginals and their culture. So that was really cool. For young people, lots of places to hang out. There's the marketplace, the Hargreaves Mall, Rosalind Park, lots of places to socialise and be with around people. More accessible mental health, because a lot of teenagers nowadays are struggling with every sort of mental health issue you could think of, like depression, anxiety, all that sort of stuff. So if you can make it more, if Bendigo can make it extremely more accessible so everyone can get the help that they need without being on like a waiting list or something, that would be big help for the young youth. Have like the weekly or monthly like groups, so that way not only that the young kids and teenagers get to like meet other people that have similar problems to them they can relate to, and on that certain level, and be able to talk and get advice from their fellow community peers in that. At the moment, after COVID and everything, definitely employment, because we're also competing against adults too for casual job, part-time job stuff, and we're not getting anywhere because people, from my experience, people would want an adult with more experience in that certain field that they are hiring for, and with a teenager, they think, they're not ready for this and that sort of thing. So I think it'd be a big issue at the moment is the youth unemployment. Have like groups at school, or have something to teach kids on how to so that their resumes, applied for jobs, go for interviews, and have like groups and the places in Bendigo to help with the unemployment. So if you go into this place, something like Access Employment, they can help with finding places that are looking for junior or part-time employment, and that way they can, because apparently the percentage of the unemployment in youth is like 61% or something. It's quite bad, so the more we could do like programs and stuff, that would be really helpful. Top priority would be youth unemployment. Next would be mental health, although switch them around. They're both really important. And the last one would be more social interactions, because most teenagers would rather sit aside and not like interact with anyone or have not much social skills. So especially with people with disabilities and stuff. So it'd be really helpful for those type of people to branch out and meet new people. Disabilities have like mixed abilities people. So we've got like ADHD people, autism, like mix everyone in the mix, like a giant social group for teenagers and youth people. But not only that, the others will know what it's like living with a disability, and also they'll get to meet new people, make new friends outside of their own school, and out talking to strangers. You're not like sitting back and observing, you're just getting right into it.
Introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Alexander, I'm 15 and I live here in Bendigo.
Awesome. What school do you go to?
Net School. It's a part of secondary senior.
Awesome. What year are you in at that school?
10.
Which
do you think makes Greater Bendigo a great place for young people to live in now?
The amount of space we have, parks like Roslyn Park, we've got so much area and so much nature that we can just explore and go out, and say people with photography, you've got so much to look at.
What would make Greater Bendigo better for young people?
More activities with people with disabilities, teenagers. There's not many options apart from the male marketplace around the streets, where there's not very private and selective areas for more teenager ages.
What, on the back of that, where would you like to go? What activities would you like to have in those facilities?
There are so many people, like they got rid of the ice skating rink. I know so many people that would love to learn, or say maybe some art classes or just some private events, just so kids can go out and interact and find people that they're most compatible with.
And what do you think is the greatest challenge for young people?
Mental health issues. During the 21st century, majority of teenagers suffer with other anxiety or depression, and it's a massive struggle.
Have you seen that more or less in the last year, 2 years?
Definitely with COVID, since everyone was kind of shut in, everyone started to get a lot of depression as they couldn't go out and socialise and get distracted.
And what do you think we can do to combat this challenge?
Definitely the community planning more events. Say there's the Pride things we do every June. How about we make more events where it could be about conventions or just regular social events so teens and adults can get out.
And do you think the solutions is, as you're saying, more of that social inclusion rather than formal like mental health support, or is there
A bit of both. A lot of the time I've noticed is that when you're out and you're enjoying yourself, you've got other people and that's a distraction, where I feel like mental health and say psychiatrists, that's a bit more when people more isolate themselves. Where getting out there and enjoying yourself, that definitely improves your mood.
awesome? In the next youth strategy, what do you think are 3 actions, priorities, or things that we would like to see in there?
Definitely people focusing on mental health, like educating people on how to help a friend with their panic attacks, or if they've got PTSD, how to help them with those fears and reactions and how to actually properly take care of them. And probably more places like jumps or inflatable world. We need more places that are more fun and enjoyable in Bendigo. And the third one, I can't really think of a third one.
Is there maybe a third issue or a third challenge?
Transport. We definitely need different timings, because not once an hour doesn't work for everyone.
Brilliant. Nailed it. Good job.
Let's head out 3, 2, 1.
You're a total legend. How are you going today?
I'm okay.
Yeah? What did you find most interesting about earlier?
What I found was interesting. All the input that everybody had.
Yeah, cool. Can you please introduce yourself for me?
I'm Abigail. I'm 12.
Awesome. And you're from Bendigo?
I am.
Nice. What do you think makes Greater Bendigo a great place for young people to live right now?
All the places that they have to go, and like the diversity and stuff like that.
Yeah. When you talk about diversity, what do you specifically mean?
Like the age groups and like the different genders that people have and the sexualities and like the different cultures.
Yeah, cool. What do you think would make Greater Bendigo a better place for young people?
Better mental health. I think it's something that Bendigo really lacks in, because it's there for the older people but not the younger.
And when you say better mental health, do you mean like services or advice or awareness, or can you explain that a little bit?
Like services and advice and like psychologists to treat stuff.
Yeah, cool. What do you think is the biggest challenge for young people?
probably the unemployment rate in Bendigo.
Yeah. And why is that a challenge? Why do you think that that's an issue?
It just
Okay,
is.
that's okay. And what can we do to change it?
Create more jobs and hire younger people instead of choosing the adults because they have more experience.
Great. What would you say are your 3 actions, and they can be things you've already said, what are your 3 actions, priority, or things you would like to see in the next youth strategy?
Better mental health awareness and stuff like that. Better employment, and I have no idea.
Cool. All good. Good job. Go get some lunch.
Yeah.
Can I have Great. Introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Dev. I live in Kangaroo Flat and I'm currently in Year 10, Girton.
At Girton College? What?
Yeah.
And you're the purple guys.
Yep.
Cool. What have you enjoyed about today?
Today I've just loved talking to all the different people and getting to know the different views in the community.
Awesome. What do you think makes Greater Bendigo a great place for young people right now?
I think the biodiversity and the big range of cultures available.
Cool. And when you say culture, what do you mean?
So like the Aboriginal people's cultures, the Chinese heritage, and just people from different walks of life.
And why do you think it's important to, recognise that we all have differences or celebrate that?
I think it helps us to better understand other people and through that get a better community.
Cool. What would make Greater Bendigo better for young people?
Probably more access to mental health facilities, because currently either they're not much, or they're not very open. So.
Okay. When you say they're not much or they're not very open, are you saying that you need...
I think more availability times and slots for the younger people.
Cool. What do you think is the biggest challenge for young people?
Probably getting into contact with friends and family that live in Bendigo, because there's a lack of public transport and probably need more facilities that help us get from one end to the other.
Okay. And how can we change that?
Maybe implement more bus times and train timetables and just make them more frequent.
And how will that make your life better?
It'll make it better because get to see friends and family easier and more often.
Awesome. And in the next youth strategy can be things you've already said. What would be 3 actions, priorities, or things you'd like to see included?
Some way to get to carbon neutral, easier transport options, and maybe a focus on environment-friendly options.
Cool. Do you have any ideas as to how we could become carbon neutral?
So like windmills or solar power, because we could put solar powers in houses and yeah.
And why is it important to you to be carbon neutral?
Well, climate change is a big thing and I feel like our generation's going to be impacted greatly by that, and I think whatever we can do to help out.
Nailed it.
Yep.
Good job. Lunchtime.
All right, I am ready to roll. Thank you for your patience.
You've been so kind and generous with your time today.
Thank you very much.
Can you introduce yourself?
I'm Audrey.
And what school do you go to, Audrey?
I go to Girton Grammar School.
What year are you in?
Year 7.
And you wear the purple uniform. I know I've asked everybody this. I just can't work it out.
No, we don't wear the purple uniform. No.
No. What colour is it?
Mostly maroon.
Huh. Right.
Yeah.
Have you had a good time today?
Yes, it's been
What was
fun.
your best part about either today or yesterday?
Probably getting to work with all of the other youth community members.
That's awesome. What makes Greater Bendigo a great place for young people to live?
Well, it's very vibrant and there's a lot of cultural diversity around, and it's good because we get to celebrate it, and it's really nice just to have a wide range of different people in the community.
Cool. And why do you think that's important?
Because it's good for us to socialise, and it's also good if we want to become a better community, because we can understand what lots of other people are doing and what their life is like as well as ours.
Cool. You talked about it being vibrant. Is that what you mean, or do you mean something else by vibrant as well?
Vibrant as in just like very upbeat, very happy community. Everyone gets along.
Yeah, awesome. What do you think would make Greater Bendigo a better place for young people?
Probably maybe just like more like socializing around, so more people can get to know each other, and yeah.
Cool. Do you have any ideas as to how we could do that?
Maybe like make like meeting, like more community centres, more places where people can gather around and meet up.
Yeah, cool. What do you think is the biggest challenge for young people?
Probably the youth unemployment rate, because it is a bit disturbing, because it is a high rate. So it will be probably better if we had more people be able to be employed at a younger age.
And how can we change this?
We can probably change it if people like really take into notice how much younger people aren't getting the opportunity to be employed, and just implementing that. Making spaces for young people to actually be employed, and just involving young people more.
Yeah, awesome. In the next youth strategy, and it can be things you've already talked about, what are 3 actions or priorities or things you would like to see put in the strategy?
Probably like more people employed. Definitely lots of more places for young people to socialise as well, and probably just more chances for people to make friends, get to know each other, and for people just have more educational opportunities and stuff, for career options and lots of other things as well.
Do you think, just touching on that last point, do you think there's something missing in terms of opportunity here?
Well, there's not a lot of like arts opportunities. Like, say you want to do a degree in some kind of arts, you can't exactly do that, because we have like stuff for younger people up to like 20 years old, and then there's pretty much, you're going to have to move somewhere else if you want to do something with the arts. So.
Yeah, cool. Thank you so much for your time.
Nah, 3, 2, 1, so check.
Can you introduce yourself for me, please?
So I am Sarah Milden, and I go to Girton Grammar School, and I'm in Year 12.
Cool. What do you enjoy about going to Girton?
I love the education. So the facilities are amazing, and the teachers are second to none, and I absolutely love socialising with all my friends there as well.
We'll just put that in their promo video.
Yeah.
So that was really
Fair
good
enough.
for them, wasn't it? What have you enjoyed the most about today?
I've loved meeting new people. Like, the community is so amazing, and being able to integrate and really have a say in the future of Bendigo is amazing, especially for youth.
That's awesome. What do you think makes Greater Bendigo a great place for young people to live?
I really enjoy that I feel we're a part of society, so we're not treated as much as children as I'd expected that we may have been, so I feel very much enveloped in the community feel, and I love that.
Yeah, cool. Are there other things that you love about living in Bendigo?
I definitely love the schools. Like, the education, I think it's second to none, and I think it's a really top-rate standard.
Cool, awesome. What do you think would make Greater Bendigo better for young people in the next 4 years?
Yeah, so I think their access to higher education and their options is quite limited, and I think that that's certainly something that probably needs to be improved. And obviously there are barriers that are stopping that from being available, but I think that'd be a really crucial part of developing, especially if we want that younger demographic to really bloom and thrive in Bendigo. Yeah.
And what kind of opportunities, like, is there a particular field that you think we have missing here, or when you say?
I think that we have a lot of amazing facilities, and we have a really broad amount of, tourism, like places that we could have, but I think that there are a lot of missing services for youth, so I think there really needs to be an improvement for mental health support services, even sexual health services for youth. Having that free and accessible, I think, is really important for, your younger demographic. And, socialisation for youth is really important because you want to develop those communication skills. And I feel that there aren't enough places in Bendigo to really develop that skill.
Really taken on the questions. But what do you think is the biggest challenge for young people living in Greater Bendigo?
Finding a place to be able to relax and unwind, because personally as a VCE student I find that a lot of my time is spent in school, studying, and our space for interaction outside of that educational setting is very limited. So, if you move into one spot of Bendigo, you might be labelled as, a bit not great. And it's difficult to find a place where we can really just relax and unwind in a, mature and respectful way, and just have that safe space to be able to relax.
And when you envision that space, what it looks like, what it feels like, who's there, who's not there, what does that look like for you?
I want it to be a hub of activity where, 12 to 24-year-olds are able to just sit, relax, have a space to talk with their friends. It's quiet, but it's also noisy, so you have those different spaces to cater for different needs. But it also allows people to just step away from the stress of, everyday life, and allows people to just unwind. Yep.
And are there services in their space? Is there technology in that space? Is there furniture? What?
I definitely think that access to technology, especially for those who can't access it, it would be a really, really amazing thing. And being able to just have the ability to have a safe space to talk to someone potentially. So if there is a mental health problem that someone's facing, they can have access to some sort of counsellor or support service to be able to talk, and just ensuring that that's confidential and able to have a really good space to be able to talk about it.
Yeah, cool. You've probably already touched on your 3 priorities. You can say them again, or you can pick different ones. What are your top 3 priorities?
Yeah, I've got a couple different priorities. So definitely a safe space for youth. So that includes your mental, sexual health as well, having those support services, because I think that's a really big thing and that's something that's lacking. Also accessibility. That I think is pretty lacking for some areas. It's definitely not for others, but we really need to have your updated transport. So, if you want to access those types of hubs, how do you get there without being reliant on someone else, especially if you don't have that other person to be able to transport you? 3rd priority. I got my 2.
You can leave it at 2.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of one. Sorry. Priority. I think just a sense of understanding, and I think the council working really close with the youth is really important, because after all, we are the demographic and the generation which is going to come through, basically help pick things up. We're going to be leading soon, very soon, and I think that helping and supporting people coming through is really important, and even as such as having more access to careers counselling, so helping people move from high school to higher education, whichever form that may take, or helping people find those jobs. Yep.
And what is that link between young people and council for you? What does that look like, or how do we bridge that gap? What do you think?
Well, we've got our youth council, which is really amazing, and I love that. But I think there's not enough visibility about that. So before this weekend, I had no idea that there was a youth council, and I think having more opportunities for young people to engage with council and give their feedback, it's a new voice, it's a new generation. It'll really help like society, especially the municipality of Bendigo, just move forward together.
Good job, girl. That was awesome.
Start a web show together, and then
And then like they get up into lots of mischief.
yeah.
Do they solve crime? That's the only. All right. Let's be serious.
All right.
Let's
I am rolling. Let's have a chat. Go
3,
I
2,
was being
1,
serious.
action. Can you please introduce yourself?
My name's Lily Rose Gamble. Yeah,
Great.
I'm a kid.
And what has led you?
Okay, thank you.
And what has led you to be here today?
So I have a very strong interest in community relations and local government and politics. And through my connections, I saw this opportunity pop up, and I thought it would be a great opportunity to voice the young voice of Bendigo.
I'm sorry, this isn't questions that are on the sheet. I'm just interested. What has been the highlight for you today or yesterday?
Meeting other young people who are equally as passionate and finding their passions in this area and watching them grow as individuals able to advocate for themselves.
Yes. And what do you think makes Greater Bendigo a great place for young people to live now?
I think that the youth services within local government is one that I don't think I've seen in any other LGA. And it's pretty strong, and they do a lot within the department, and it's pretty solid.
And why do you think it's important that LGAs have youth services like Yo Bendigo?
Because without services like Yo Bendigo, there's not a place for young people to go to find their advice, and it's almost vital for young people to have that place to go physically. As our lives can be hectic and very, very busy, it's important to have that retreat away from society to be able to talk about our feelings.
And other than specifically what council does for young people, are there other reasons it's kind of cool to live here? The environment, the schools, like anything like sort of external? You can say no.
No.
Oh, cool.
I don't think so. I mean, it's a pretty cool place to live, but as much as young people specific matters go for, I wouldn't have chosen Bendigo myself.
Okay. Why not? Let's go there.
If it was my decision, coming here with a very high youth unemployment rate, I wouldn't have wanted to be here as a young person. The education opportunities are much lower than the ones in bigger cities such as Melbourne, and the commute can be quite taxing and tiring after a bit. So I would have chosen to live more urbanly and have easier access to that kind of support and education.
And when you talk education, are you referring to a specific part of it, or?
I'm talking about further education and education opportunities. So within VCE, I know that it's vast at most schools, but it's still limited to our capacity as schools in Bendigo.
And how can we change that? What can we do about the opportunities?
Well, a lot of it comes from the fact that systemically children or young people won't put in, when we're talking about subjects for school, won't put in subjects if they don't know they can ask for that subject to be put in, or that subject exists. Whereas in Melbourne, and you go around to all the schools, you can see what subjects actually exist and engage with the subject and then pick your school based on that.
Okay, cool. What do you think would make, we've kind of touched on this, but what do you think would make Greater Bendigo better for young people, specifically in the next 4 years? What could we achieve?
I would like to see the city work on the youth unemployment. It's a big issue, and I think it would, as society's perception of young people is ever so negative, getting young people into employment, getting them to stay here and support the economy both through work and spending would very much encourage young people to have a better quality of life in Bendigo and not be pushed to move out of Bendigo.
And how can we do that? How can we change that?
I think providing incentives for apprenticeships and traineeships, as well as incentives for studying higher education and different degrees in higher education, as well as getting our Year 12 completion rate advanced. So we have more % of our young people completing Year 12 whether that's by offering more subjects or more vet subjects within the schools.
What would be your, I mean, I've got biggest challenge here, but what would be like your top 2, 3, 4? And you've probably already
Challenges.
touched on a lot of them.
So I think unemployment's a big one. I think I'd love to see more young people engage with state government in Bendigo through the department, more engagement with their committees, more engagement with their facilities, their politics.
How can we, what sort of things can we do to get people involved in state government issues, like you're saying?
I think it's a hard one because there's such a contentious thing and it changes every term. But I think a big one is allowing people to come and have a space to advocate for their issues and a space to spread opportunities that's open to anyone and goes through a filtering process but doesn't get filtered down to the specific political agenda at that stage.
Yeah, interesting. In the next youth strategy, what 3 actions, priorities or things would you like to see included?
I would like to see included unemployment, education and job opportunities, which goes with unemployment.
Perfect. Do you have anything else to add? Anything about all of that?
No.
Noted. Good job. Nice.
3, 2, 1, subject.
So the real question is, other than iCarly, what show would you recommend?
I am a big fan of The Office.
The American version?
American,
Or British
British, no, British, no.
Yeah, alright. That's not controversial, but I think...
Or Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
It is. I've seen Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Yeah.
Yes, good.
Yeah.
We can relate, yeah.
Yeah.
Can you introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Billy Lister.
And where are you from? What are you doing?
I'm from Castlemaine and I'm in Year 8.
And what brings you to Bendigo on a sort of day-to-day kind of basis?
I love shopping. I have lots of friends and family that live up here and stuff like this, forums and events and meetings.
Cool. And what has brought you to be here with everybody?
I love making a change for youth, my people in my shire and area.
Nailed it. I would like to know what you think makes Greater Bendigo and Castlemaine and all of that area a great place for young people to live right now.
The services, there's a lot of services for mental health and if you have a disability, there's the right things. You don't have to go travelling to Melbourne or out of state and you can get the things that you need.
Cool. Do you think, and you can, if you agree, you can sort of rephrase what I'm potentially about to say. Do you think it's, the access, the quality of services, like what is it about the services that you think is great?
That they're here, really, because other small towns, like for example Heathcote, if they didn't have us in Bendigo, they'd have to travel 2 hours, 3 hours to get those services that they might need urgently and quickly.
Perfect. What do you think would make Greater Bendigo and surrounding areas better for young people in the next 4 years?
I've heard a lot over the weekend that a lot of young people don't feel safe in our area, although there's a lot of people around that sometimes at night, if they're catching buses or trains, that they don't feel safe getting on those to get back to their house.
And do you agree with that? Is that something that you've experienced?
Yeah.
Cool. What do you think we could do to fix that?
I don't know. No
Cool.
idea.
What do you think is the biggest challenge for young people?
Overcoming stress, mental health, all that stuff, and being able to have the courage to say if they are experiencing those thoughts or if they're part of the LGBTIQ plus community, and that can be really hard sometimes for people to do that.
Yeah, and what can we do to help that and fix that?
Make people feel more comfortable about talking, so comfort them and ask them if they're okay.
So if we're talking about making people feel more comfortable and we're going to ask them okay and stuff like that, how do we change that conversation as a society? what would some tools or some strategies be that we to make sure that that's
I think we, as an area, we need to recognise that we're not all the same, and everyone has their differences, and we need to work as a community to recognise them and know that they're happening in our area.
You might have already touched on these things, but I would like to know what your 3 actions or priorities or things that you'd like to see in the youth strategy for the next couple of years. What are your 3?
Mental health support, just support in general for young people, especially young men. They don't feel, some people don't feel comfortable talking about what's happening in their body or anything like that. And for our area to be more green and sustainable.
Now that's a different and interesting point, the sustainability point. Why
Yeah.
do you think that's important to you?
Because us as young people, we're the future of our area and our country, and if we don't work towards that now, then we might never get to.
And what kinds of things, big or small, could we be doing as a council or as individuals to be helping the sustainability situation?
Being mindful of where you put your rubbish, if you put it in the wrong bin or the ocean, lake or a dam, or just being mindful of where you put it, and just knowing that our world will eventually end if we don't do that now.
Cool. Is there anything else you'd like to add? Anything you want to say? Your champ. Well done.